If bees went extinct, the list of fruit and vegetables we could no longer eat would be lengthy. In the worst case scenario, it would also include dairy products, because bees pollinate many of the crops used to feed cows. Bees pollinate around 70% of our food crops, and the British bee population has declined by a third since 2007. The number of hives have plummeted by 73% over the past century. Mites and viruses are partly to blame for this decline. Not all fruits and vegetables would be affected by the bee extinction, because there are many flora species that are pollinated by the wind or by other insects. In this video I will go over some of the ways we will be affected if bees go extinct. To save on time, I will not be mentioning the obvious, that honey will be a goner when our friend Barry B. Benson decides it's time to go on strike again. I'm just kidding, of course. Here are some of the impacts we will face if bees disappear from the face of the earth. Meat. Many people love a balanced diet of fruit and veg, maybe with a side of mash and gravy. Unfortunately, if bees suddenly vanished from the earth one day, you'd have to say goodbye to one of the world's most predominant Saturday night dinners: steak. As cows are mainly fed plants that are pollinated by bees, the production of meat and milk would sink. At least you still have the option of pork, or of course the vegan or vegetarian alternative. I hear they are making great strides at substituting meat in a lab. I guess I could still give it a go, if I had to. Boring cakes. The good news? Strawberries can be pollinated without bees. The bad? Without butter in the dough, your sweet cakes would taste a little less distinctively delicious. However, strawberry plants have been known to grow smaller when not pollinated by bees. In addition to this, they are more susceptible to diseases, which would put a strain on the berry farming industry, which may mean the price for them will be driven up tremendously. Burning lips. Luckily for us who love a good old dose of OJ in the morning, citrus fruits are self-pollinating, and bees have hardly any influence on the harvest of lemons or grapefruit. So there'll be plenty of vitamin C to go around. And don't worry parents, you can still teach your kids the value of money with lemonade stands if bees go extinct. No more melons. If there was one fruit that needed bees the most, sadly it would be the melon. Agricultural scientists and farmers can still hand-pollinate melons. Unfortunately, this process is a very costly one, and many of our current dominators in melon production would be unable to sustain itself at the current low rate at which melons are grown and sold. Either a single watermelon would have to be sold at the same price of several large bags of apples, or not at all, I'm afraid. Cotton shortage. Cotton plants pollinated by bees produce larger harvests and are more resistant to disease. Without bees, there would still be cotton, but it would be of a lower quality and much more expensive. Goodbye cucumbers. Vegetables from the gourd and squash families would have to be pollinated by hand if there were no bees. Similar to melons, this process would be extremely damaging to the industry, and you'll be looking at much less in your salad. No more 5 a day. Among the many products to go, New Zealand kiwi fruits, berries of all assortments, apples and grapes would vanish with bees. I will certainly miss them. What about you? Feel free to comment below what fruit you would miss the most would be. Speaking of 5 a day, our salads, stir fries and pasta salads would be very bland without bees. Because without bees, we would no longer have onions, pepper and broccoli. Holy moly guacamole! Without bees, there would be hardly any avocados, but tortilla chips would still exist, as corn can grow without insects. Even our salsa will have trouble growing without bees to pollinate tomatoes. At least they can still be grown in greenhouses. But who would eat a plain corn chip without such an important garnish? Well, nacho cheese Doritos will still be a thing once the bees leave. Bread. You're in luck, because wheat is pollinated by the wind, so there would still be bread without bees. These were just some of the impacts we would have to face if bees were to go extinct. And although there is enough evidence to suggest bees aren't going anywhere anytime soon, it is still evident that they are on the decline in some places. So please, if you value any of these foodstuffs mentioned, do your part in ensuring the health and safety of bees. If you don't disturb them, they most likely won't disturb you. And feel free to click on that subscribe button if you haven't already. We post interesting and informative videos every month. Thanks for buzzing in.